As time went on, other acts would build their name in hip-hop, making it much more competitive. Stetsasonic and all its members would also see how other solo acts and duo groups would bring in the cash. With being a six-man group, the pie had to be split 6 different ways, as members like Daddy-O, Prince Paul, and Bobby Simmons would go on to produce hit records for new acts. Some of the original members of STET would have to break off and find a new way.
So during In Full Gear, we do some touring, right, which is successful. And one day we're at Rush office, and I think the tension had already built up.
And but things began to change. Fuquan actually got kicked out. I thought that even though he probably deserved it at that particular time, I think it became a little bit more individualistic.
We ain't making that much money back then. Right. On our level of what it was. You know, it's groups that's making way more, but you know, you gotta understand the time that they came in. They have a whole lot of people. How do you hold that group together, money-wise? See what I'm saying? When one person is going on stage rapping, getting just as much as all of them.
Technically, you know, we disbanded, you know, after the third album. You know, I mean, Fuquan left just before the third album.
If you look at the Self-Destruction video, when Fuquan comes on after Heavy D, that outfit that he has on, he made that. You know, so he had an idea, I think, that he was gonna make outfits for STET, because if you look online, you'll see him say, look for STET clothing and all of that, but it never really matriculated.
That time that people going for theirs, and you could go for yours. I didn't mind that, but our first priority should always be the band, because that was your springboard.
It's like Wu-Tang. You know, even when I looked at Wu-Tang, I said, wow, it's a lot of them. You know, how are they gonna get paid, this and that and this? But they stuck together and they all supported each other, and everybody had their own identity.
I go one day to buy these clothes. I send my road manager to Delancey Street to buy these silk outfits that we got. And we get into this whole big thing about the clothing. Because we get in this whole big thing about, I can make clothes, I don't need you taking my money and all of that. So we get in, and he leaves. That's the day we at Rush. We at Russell's office, Fuquan leaves the group.
A lot of little egos had gotten in the way. That's my brother. I love him to death. I love him to death. Daddy-O probably got, you know, a little swelled up, you know what I'm saying?
Because his production.
Yes,
Kraze,
yes, yes. And then you start thinking that you're bigger than the group itself.
When he leaves, you know, Wise is the astute. Even to this day, if we do a show, I ask Wise, what's my lyrics? Because he's the astute Stetsasonic student. And so Wise now becomes that third verse, you know, that third voice. He can mimic Fuquan fairly well. And I honestly say on tour, sometimes people don't even miss him, because they kind of don't know. It's so many of us.
And then people start feeding you that stuff. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing, you know, Daddy-O puts out albums now, you know. There was nothing wrong with that, but you don't have to slight the group, you know what I'm saying, in order to do that. You can always do that. Why not? Do it. You know what I'm saying? Do well. You know what I'm saying? I mean, even the guys in Wu-Tang, they do individual albums, but they never can forget the core, because that's where everything is held together at that particular time.
Daddy-O didn't really affect the band, because everybody who wanted to do other projects wound up doing it. Again, Prince Paul had great success with De La Soul, Big Daddy Kane, Third Base. So Prince Paul was producing a lot of hit records on his own, while Daddy-O was producing records himself, Audio 2. Daddy-O was working with Third World, Queen Latifah. He was working on a lot of other acts. Myself, I wound up producing records like Shabba Ranks, Living Color record. Me and Prince Paul did that together. The Rocky V soundtrack. So we all wound up finding work.
But even I was thinking on a certain level, say, oh, fuck it, we get more money. You know, and really the money that we was getting didn't really equal to, because I learned that now, his presence being in the group at that particular time. So we wind up recording an album, Blood, Sweat, but No Tears, without Fuquan. And that's one of the main things that I noticed, that, you know, we're missing Fuquan.
It's all economic. I think my opinion is that the other guys that weren't making that independent money were looking at us like, almost like we should share it. And then me and DB, it turns out later on, because he done quit the group now, we friction, but I'm not knowing. I'm breaking everything off with him, but I don't know, he's thinking I'm doing something else. You know, I remember we produced the Cookie Crew out of London album together, and a reporter wrote it, and they wrote about me, and he comes back at me and says, oh man, you told them to talk about you. I didn't even make that choice. So there's no, put it here, there's known and unknown friction. There's known friction that seems palatable, and there's unknown friction that nobody was to know what that felt like. Right. And which end up, that known friction is which end up with Fuquan leaving the group. That's why he's not on the third album. Right. You know what I'm saying? So there's something in him bubbling too. And you know, I mean, hindsight being 2020, I guess it was all at me. I mean, I can't front. I used to always tell the guys, either y'all gonna do it or I'm gonna do this shit by myself. You know what I'm saying? Because I had got to a point where I was just like, look, we could put this on autopilot and we could all just go crazy. And I don't want to see nobody late. I don't want to see none of that. And I think that cats began to start trying to figure out, this is my opinion, you can ask them, where their voice was, who they were.